Happy Friday! How is everybody? I am on a little early today. I thought I would get started nice and early. There's so much going on, but I wanted to do a live today. And today I will start with a story, a scenario, and then I will get into the topic. You see the title here, but we're going to get into it now. So I wanted to consider a scenario to start off. And I'm wondering if you guys have ever run into this scenario. I'm just going to put out a general scenario at first. So consider a scenario where you and your significant other, your partner, had plans for Friday night. So you've had these plans all week and you were really excited about them. You couldn't wait. And the day of, your partner tells you their best friend of 10 years flew in out of nowhere, surprised them, and your partner cancels plans. What happens to you? Your stomach drops. All of a sudden, you panic. You're kind of freaking out. You're looking at your text that you just got from your partner, and you're terrified. You're angry. You're freaking out. You don't respond right away, but when you do send a text to your partner, it's not the nicest text. In fact, it's like really nasty. And you're a really sweet person. Who is this monster coming out? You're feeling like you're being abandoned, and we're just talking about dinner. So what's happening? What's happening to you in your body in that moment when you find out your partner is really just canceling dinner and you feel like your world is ending? When you find yourself reacting in this kind of a way that doesn't really match up to the situation, and it's in the context of a relationship, it can be really disruptive. We're talking about dysregulation. And really dysregulation that stems from trauma, mainly relationship trauma, right? In my late teens and my 20s, I also struggled with this type of dysregulation. I had no clue how to feel safe in my body, let alone in relationship. And I ran into these very types of situations with my then partner and boyfriend. And when he wasn't available or would cancel plans, I would flip out. I would freak out. And I had to learn how to become regulated in my system. And I had to learn how to regulate my emotions. But this is something that I often run across, and I find that many of my clients are still struggling with in later years when they haven't healed earlier childhood trauma. So let's talk about what this dysregulation is all about and what kind of issues it might cause in your life and where it's coming from. So dysregulation can cause all types of experiences. What might you be experiencing? It can cause irritability, anger, depression, brain fog, things like that. We routinely think of emotional dysregulation, right? But we are talking about mind-body disconnection in our dysregulation and how it impacts your relationships. And if you really get down to the bottom of it, it stems from your nervous system dysregulation. Your nervous system is out of whack in that moment, causing you to feel certain things. And your nervous system is a complex system. It is built to ensure your survival, right? And when we encounter a perceived or real threat, it consequently affects our behavior, how your nervous system perceives what's happening. So depending on our circumstances, your nervous system may be activated. Either your sympathetic system may cue you subconsciously to fight or flee. Your parasympathetic system may cue you to rest and digest. Your dorsal vagus system may freeze you. or your ventral vagus system may suggest some social engagement, either engaging and connecting with others or shut down your social engagement system. And dysregulation can cause us to respond in inappropriate ways, either underreacting or overreacting with others when we don't really intend to, right? Like, especially in this scenario with your partner and the person that you love, you really want to behave in the way you normally do, where you're feeling safe, you're feeling secure, you're feeling a healthy attachment. But then all of a sudden, it feels like a monster takes over you and you're freaking out, right? So this is usually caused by unresolved, unfinished trauma responses from the past. And it can manifest in mental health symptoms: depression, anxiety, panic, sleep issues, poor memory, poor concentration, all of these things, right? But also physical health things like exhaustion, somatic symptoms, discomfort, headaches, stomach aches. And it can lead to long-term chronic health ailments also. And what gets complicated is those things can play into further dysregulation. Because if you're not feeling well, you can feel dysregulated. And that can make these engagements even harder, right? So what gets really interesting is Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory, that we are constantly scanning our environment for cues of safety. It's something called neuroception via our autonomic nervous system. And there are 3 types of responses we may have in a given scenario, even when it's just like our partner talking to us about our dinner plans. So one is immobilization. We may become frozen, numb, or shut down. One is mobilization. This is where we talk about the fight or flight portion of the fight, flight, or freeze response. The immobilization is the freezing piece of that. And then something I often talk about with trauma is the social engagement response. So this is the part of the vagus nerve that responds to feelings, safety, and connection. And the social engagement allows us to feel anchored. And it's facilitated by the ventral vagal pathway. And in this space, we feel calm, connected, and engaged. But when this often shuts down in perceived danger. So even if you're in the middle of an engagement with your partner whom you love, if there is trauma around your relationships, you might subconsciously perceive danger and completely freeze, not know what to say. You may have this large emotional dysregulated reaction and totally freak out. So either you don't say something or you respond inappropriately, right? And that's the dysregulated part of you that's not really you. And that's when your authentic self, your true self, can't come out and be real about how you're actually feeling. So how can you actually start to heal this? How can you be yourself? How can you get rid of all these dysregulated parts of you? How can you stop reacting from this part of you that is really old, that's traumatized, right? So one way is to identify what some of your triggers are. And a great way to do this, I recommend downloading my Trauma Trigger Toolkit. It's a systematic way to help you identify what some of your triggers are and to know what they are, so you have a good sense that going into a situation, okay, I might be triggered in this situation. Let me start to use some tools to calm myself so I don't get completely triggered, so I can be calm in this scenario. Learn how to find your window of tolerance. When you're dysregulated, either in hyperarousal or hypoarousal, you're not in your window of tolerance, and you may act inappropriately in certain situations. If you can remain feeling safe in your body, calm, that's when you can start to blossom. That's when you can really heal deeper traumas. learn techniques to feel safe and grounded in your body, and then begin healing some of the deeper triggers and traumas that have been causing your dysregulation. So I'm really excited to let you know that I've actually created an entire 20-session course that will help you do all of this and a lot more. And I'm going to be releasing it in about 4 weeks. But until then, I've got a couple of cool things I'm going to be giving out for free. So stay tuned. And I can't wait to share this all with you. Stay up to date on my Instagram and also on my email list if you want any of these resources. Check out any of the free resources on my website that I have available now. And if you have any questions or things you want to add to this, please write some comments, like this live, and DM me. Have a beautiful Friday, and I'll see you soon.